everybody, and welcome back to Monster Hunter World Iceborne. And this is my personal, perfect, best end game Elder Dragon Dual Blade set. I'm probably not going to be able to fit all of that in the title. Obviously, best is something that can be interpreted. Some people think best is killing the monster as fast as possible. Some people think the best is destroying all the parts on the monster and then capturing it or killing it as soon as you've finished off all of the parts. Some people think it's helping out other people by using horns and using healing items, of course. But for me, the best is kind of a mixture of everything. So you want to kill the monster quickly, break as many parts as possible, and look as cool as possible while doing it. And this, I think, fits the bill pretty perfectly. It's certainly got the cool thing down. I mean, it looks awesome. We've got that kind of anime scarf going on. It is a thing of beauty. But let me take you through what's what. So, first things first, Death Row, the Odo dual blades, the Dragon Odo dual blade. I can never remember the name. My name's appalling. I wish I could remember them better. But anyway, you want those as dual blades. You want Master's Charm, 3. Technically you want 4. I haven't got to that stage yet. When I do, I'll jig it about a little bit, update it on Twitter. Don't forget to follow me down there in the description below, and I'll update it slightly for that, because it actually means you can do something a little bit cooler with this. But most people, I think, aren't going to have Master Charm 4 until they're really deep into the end game. But that's Master Charm 4 is ideal, but Master Charm 3 works perfectly well for now. Okay. I should mention that this build basically is pretty much determined by your jewels. Okay, so if you don't have exactly the same jewels as me, you can gem in other stuff that will help. For example, I've got a ton of defense jewels and not attack jewels, so I have spec'd this out to basically be in the monster's face constantly without having to worry about healing. But you can do it as a blitz attack one as well, sort of the opposite side of that, where you will have to heal occasionally, but your attack is going to be insane. But I'll show you, I'll talk about that a little bit later on. Let's go through these bits and pieces. Tentacle Cowl from you know, the Elder Dragon, the torrent Elder Dragon with the water and the lightning. Yeah, that's what that is. Tentacle Cowl B, obviously the Odo Death Garon Male B as well. Narcokuga Braces, Tentacle Core A, and Shara Greaves as well. Now let me take you through what each one of these kind of does. So this one gives you Constitution 2, and the Max Might is kind of just a throwaway thing. Critical Eye, obviously, and Dragon Resistance again. The Dragon Resistance kind of a throwaway thing. Stamina Surge for the Narcokuga Braces, very important for dual blades, having as much stamina as possible. Tentacle Coil is for the Constitution and the extra Stamina Surge. And the Part Breaker and Defense Boost of Shara as well. Obviously, we want to build a lot of part breaking into this because you want to get as much stuff from the monster at the end game as possible. Now, if we go over, you'll see how I've sort of gemmed it out. You get Critical Eye 7, Defense Boost level 5, Constitution 5, Health Booster 3, Part Breaker 3, Stamina Surge 3, Divine Blessing, and Affinity Sliding, and kind of Dragon Resistance and Max Might as well. But the Affinity Sliding is very important, and I'll talk to you about that now. As you can see from the decorations, I've got a slider and physique jewel just to get that one extra constitution and one affinity sliding. Because your affinity is at level 60, if you're on even the tiniest sort of hill, you can actually go into demon mode, press circle and then the B button, and you'll actually kind of go into a slide of your own. Any Dual Blades players will know this. If you haven't used Dual Blades a lot, give it a practice. It's very fun to do, very easy. You'll find yourself hitting the monster a lot, but it activates affinity sliding for I think it's about 30 seconds, and that brings you up to 90% affinity. Which is absolutely ludicrous on toast, but works very well. I've got the Expert Jewel 4, obviously, to give me the additional Critical Eye. The Defense Jewel 1 to go here. The Hard Defense Jewel as well. This is where you can kind of swap around the defense and the attack as well, if you wanted to. Put a different piece of Greaves on with a single level of attack in it. Or two levels of attacking it, and then put the hard attack jewels in here as well, and you can get up to sort of level 5, level 6 of attack. But for me, it's defense, and I'll explain why in a minute. Triple health, again, I'll explain why this is in a minute. Destroyer and protection jewel, again, to give me a little bit more divine blessing. Protection, Duel, and Destroyer. So in total, we have got the 3-part breaker is very important for endgame, in my opinion. The triple health, which I'll go through again, like I said, in a second, and the divine blessing. So the idea of this build is real simple. You want to get in the monster's face and make sure that every time you get hit, you don't have to heal. You basically can take 1, maybe 2, maybe even 3 hits before you have to heal. The divine blessing, obviously, is slightly random, but it does mean you can stay in the fight longer, because every now and again you are going to be randomly taking 30% less damage, which is really useful. And because you've got super high defense, the amount of damage you're taking is kind of low anyway. And of course, you get a bit of elemental resistance as well, which is fantastic. And of course, percentage-wise, you want to have more health with more defense, because more health and more defense again means that you're going to be staying in that monster's face for as long as possible. And of course, because if you're going to be affinity sliding, you have 90% affinity, or even just if you're not sliding everywhere, you have that beautiful 60% affinity with that 300 dragon damage as well. That means, in theory, if you do start getting hit and shocked around and things aren't going your way, it means that you don't have to worry so much about your health. You can just keep attacking and attacking, and that's what dual blades are about, constantly attacking the monster. And it works really, really well. Obviously, the element dragon, because most of the elder dragons are weak to dragon, and you've got fairly high attack. You don't need handicraft with this build. That's probably the best thing about the build, is that you have a huge amount of white sharpness. So you don't need speed sharpening, you don't need handicraft, you don't need any sort of that sort of stuff there. So you can build the rest of the set around that. One of the key elements of this, weirdly, is affinity sliding. It's very, very easy to slide with dual blades. You go into demon mode, and you, like I said, you press circle or B, depending on what console you're on, and you kind of go into this weird jump into slide thing, and that will activate your affinity sliding most of the time. And then you have affinity sliding. I think it's about 20 to 30 seconds you have your affinity sliding active, and that means you have 90% affinity, so you're pretty much always doing crits as well. And it's not reliant on weakness exploit either, which means that, great news, the rest of your armor set can be built out into what makes dual blades powerful. In this case, needing to have a lot of stamina, so that's why we've got the stamina surge and constitution at full as well. So you're going to be, again, being able to stay in the fight for longer. A little bit of dragon resistance, like I said, that's kind of there because it's there, and maximum might does activate occasionally, and if you're lucky enough to get it doesn't happen often, but if you're lucky enough to have that maximum might, you're not in demon mode and you've just done affinity sliding, you end up with 100% affinity, which is absolutely brilliant. Really works well. Right, let me take you through some fights. So one thing I wanted to show you in particular was the fact that those stamina upgrades into your armor now mean that you can dodge pretty much whenever. You're never worried about stamina going into demon mode because it recovers so quickly. As you can see here, I was just running around doing some stuff. It was just waiting for the other guy to kind of catch up with me. Maybe I could mount the monster, etc. There we go. But the best thing is, you'll notice I jumped back onto there, and I do already have full stamina. In fact, when you do a dodge roll, you can actually roll, and because the stamina surge activates so quickly, you're already back at full stamina by the end of the roll, which means that you can evade pretty much constantly, which is another great thing about the dual blades, is that obviously evasion is key. You've got no defense in terms of a shield or a big greatsword or whatever it may be, so the ability to evade actually makes things so much better. You'll notice when you're actually hitting the monster's parts how high the damage rating goes on these dual blades when you're starting to hit the really weak parts. You get like 47s, 57s, 77 sometimes, and it sort of constantly stays around the 20 mark, between the 20 and 25 mark, which is absolutely incredible for dual blades considering how many times you are hitting the monster and how quickly you're hitting the monster, even when it's not on a weak part like I was there on the legs. You're still seeing I'm getting between sort of 12s to 18s because of those critical hits that are happening constantly, and I'm getting that affinity sliding all the time, which basically means I'm at 90% affinity, which it may as well be 100. 9 times out of 10 you're hitting, you're doing extra damage, is fantastic. Now, I would sometimes maybe say that that a bit of crit boost could actually help you out a lot with this build, and it's something that you can kind of sacrifice a few points of maybe constitution for, or maybe a few bits of defense for, if you had those gems. Unfortunately, I don't have those gems because I never gem farmed, and I'm a pretty big idiot because of it. But you can see that you're so much more agile, the monster, running all the way around it, and even when you do get a hit like that, which should have been a big hit, I can actually just keep in the fight and keep on hitting because it's not a big enough hit to worry about. And even with the biggest of hits, and even with Val Hazak, when he takes away most of your health with his virus, it's not that much of an issue either, because again, the defense is so high. You can set your cleansing booster on the floor, or you can take your null berry, and you don't kind of have to worry about it until later on. And you're always remaining out of the way of the monster's attacks, and it's just such a good way of going about the fight. You're a nimble, agile ninja, as it were, and the scarf obviously helps too. Well, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like. I hope you're enjoying the weekly Monster Hunter videos. I will try and get another build ready for you for next week. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.